The final two questions relate to the second option that Rashi provides to the issue of Achot Aharon. If, as we have assumed, that the focus of Rashi's commentary is to address the problem as to why Miriam is identified as the Achot Aharon, not the Achot Moshe ve'Aharon, and for which Rashi provides two explanations. In the first, it establishes the time frame for the prophecy of Miriam, whereas in the second it was to demonstrate the intrinsic link between Miriam and Aharon. A close reading of Rashi will show that he has added some superfluous information, and this becomes the focus of question 5. In light of the fact that the focus of Rashi is the textual anomaly Achot Aharon, all Rashi needed to do was simply to write Davar Acher. We would have understood that this comes to provide a second reason for the Achot Aharon, and then go on to state Lefi shemasar nafsho aleha keshenitz tara'ah. What, if anything, could be read into the inclusion for a second time the words Achot Aharon. And finally, the multiple options rule, such as what we have here, whereby there are two options that come in response to a particular textual anomaly. Once we have identified the anomaly, we have the first option. However, if we are to accept that first option, it creates another textual anomaly for which option 2 is offered in response. The reason we do not discard option 1 in favor of option 2 is because option 2 also has its own textual anomaly, one that is not an issue if one were to accept option 1. The textual anomaly created with option 1 is less problematic and more aligned to the Pshuto Shemikra, and therefore Rashi makes an executive decision that it becomes the primary option and option 2 comes in as a Davar Acher. With question 6, we will firstly look at the shortcomings of option 1, then the shortcomings of option 2, and finally the advantage that option 1 has over option 2. This concludes the series of 6 questions posed by the Rebbe in the SICHAH on Rashi's commentary to the words Vatikach Miriam HaNeviah. And before moving into part 2, a quick sum up of the 6 questions. Headings must match the commentary, and if the commentary addresses the issue of Achot Aharon, then why is it that these two words have not been included in Rashi's heading, and in fact should have replaced the words Vatikach Miriam HaNeviah? What is germane to the commentary is the link between Achot Aharon and the fact that Miriam was a Neviah. Kishahaita Achot Aharon Kodem Shenolad Moshe establishes a time frame. The content of the Nevuah is not important. Hence we asked, why has Rashi included that information into his commentary? According to the rule that when Rashi introduces midrashic sources, unless they are defined specifically as midrashic in the form of Rabbeinu Darshu or Midrashah, the midrashic information must be aligned with the Pshuta Shel Mikra. As such, here we do not have a statement to the effect that Kishahaita Achot Aharon Kodem Shenolad Moshe is midrashic. We asked in question 3, what basis does Rashi have for making this assertion within the parameters of Pshuta Shel Mikra? Question 4 looks at the inclusion of the source by Rashi of the midrashic interpretation. In this case, Kedita Basota. There are two components to this question. The first, what information is hinted at by the inclusion of the source? And secondly, if a source was to be included, why does Rashi choose the Sota account rather than the account recorded in Masechet Megillah? Masechet Megillah precedes Masechet Sota in the Shisha Sidrei Mishnah. We noted very early on that the focus of Rashi appears to be the textual anomaly relating to the descriptive Achot Aharon, for which he provides two interpretations. As such, the inclusion of the words Achot Aharon in his second option would appear to be somewhat unnecessary. And with question 6, the issue of multiple options comes to the fore. What are the advantages and disadvantages of each of the options, and the advantage that option 1 has over option 2?